it was, at least for us, our first look at your two power play units, and just again, to walk us through kind of how you decided to put those two groups together.
Well, I think it's a little bit of a case of if it's ain't broke, don't fix it. So, I think that group's been really good, and obviously that's not to say that it's not going to change, but that group, percentage-wise, when they're all together, has been very good. I think they read off each other. They're fast, and in saying that, you've got a guy like the Brinkat that flat out scores in that spot. So I think Timmy's really dangerous in that spot. He's really comfortable there, and DeBrincat is as well. So Giroux's played both sides. Sanderson at the top, Pinto's played really well, and he's good in the pop. And then we're going to play around with the goal line guy. And a couple times, Brady was there, and I'm not saying end of periods maybe Brady's going to be there. We'll see what our lineup looks like as we go, and we'll start with those. We're going to split the groups a little bit here for the next two games, so that one unit of power play will play in Belleville, and the other unit will play at home against Montreal. So the lines will get jumbled up a bit, but we'll focus our attention on special teams here for a couple games.
Is it fair to say that Angus Crookshank was essentially a placeholder? Is that Matthew Joseph's spot?
I think we're gonna try everyone there at this point and see who the best fit is for it. Crookshank, plays in Belleville. For talking to their coaches, we're going to try Joseph there. Obviously, Formanton's not here. That was a guy that we had thought in that spot. Mott's played really well. We'll try, every one of those guys and see what works.
Originally, Greg going to get in the game either Friday or Saturday here?
Ridley will play one of these two games. We'll finalize that schedule here shortly once we know the health of everyone, but he definitely will play one of these two games.
I guess if he's playing, then you must be happy with progress and how the shoulder is.
Yeah, for sure we are. But, it's long-term development for Ridley, and, we'll see how he looks in these games. But, the organization knows he's going to be a good player for a long time, and we'll do what's right for him.
Coming back to the power play, did you have a talk with the Cat about starting off with that? I know there's not a number one or number two unit, but he's still a 40-goal scorer. Did you have a chat with him to explain?
Yeah, for sure. Today's athlete, I think communication is absolutely key. I don't think just doing and then have them show up at the rink is necessary. I think everything's vocal. Who's to say what unit's going to be better? Giroux's as good a power play guy as there is, of these guys' numbers. If you look the last so many years, Giroux's been a dangerous power play guy his whole career. Pinto is not a proven commodity, but plays that pop spot like a Bergeron-esque, and then you have DeBrincat over there. Boston's power play, we've talked about how good it's been, is kind of where the Pasternak is. And I see an opportunity where both units to be dangerous. I've said before, St. Louis Blues last year were second in the National Hockey League on the power play with sharing their units. And we're in that situation where I think it's the right thing to do.
How important is the two games this weekend in maybe determining your third pairing on the blue line?
It's going to come right down to the end. We have those, not just these two games, but we have the three Montreals to finish up. And we're going to want to get as close to our lineup as possible after this weekend. I think getting guys into games, and seeing what they look like, it's going to get down to, really getting ready for the season, these last three games after this weekend. So we'll split, and we'll see how the guys are. And then the last three games, I think, will determine that.
TJ, no doubt you're evaluating a lot of different players, blue line. Where do you think right now the most competitive battle is happening for a spot on this team?
Well, it's the back end for sure, to see what six are going to be in and who's going to play with who. I think it's fair to say, Zubin Shabbat, we're going to start with Zubin Shabbat, and we'll continue to monitor Sanderson. You don't ever want to secure a young guy and say, you're given anything, because that's just not the way it should be. We're going to continue to play him with Hamonic. Holden is going to be in there. So these guys are going to fight it out, and there's some guys that have put themselves on the list as well. I think Larson's come in and played really well. I think Docker's played really well. Lassie, Thompson, and Gannett. These guys are competing. I'm not saying that they're going to be in the starting lineup, but at some point this year, I think we're going to see all these guys.
So at this stage of camp, where would you say Brännström's game is at, and is it up to par to what you anticipated from him?
I think Brandy has been good in camp. I think judging the guys last night, on the back end probably is not as fair. You're playing against the other teams, top players, top lines, what have you. And, I thought we worked hard. I thought 5-on-5, we limited them to not a ton of chances. And I thought Brandy moved the puck at times very well. I think this weekend's game that he plays and then the games out east, are going to dictate, what we think of his camp overall. But I think sometimes we want to put, all this pressure on one game or 2 games. I think it's the body of work over camp that's going to dictate who's the guys that are going to play.
On Bernard Docker, he admitted yesterday, like the start of last year, that some timidness in his play. Like, have you seen maybe that, I guess, no longer evident as he's grown more?
He looks more comfortable. He looks like he knows exactly what he has to do to play in the National Hockey League. He's going to make mistakes like all young guys do, but you can see that he's trying to become that defender. He's trying to be that guy that can shut people down, that can kill penalties, and the reason he was drafted where he was drafted.
What's your message to a guy like Nikita Zaitsev, who comes into camp and it seems like, as you talked about, might be a real battle to get into the top 6?
I think pro sports that's the way it is. And, outside of the stars that are given spots, pro sports is you're in a fight all the time. And not just for ice, not just for playing, but for ice time. Who's going on first on the penalty kill? Who's going first on the power play? And that's just part of it. And at the end of the day, we have a great management staff of Trent Mann and Ryan Bonus and Pierre Dorian, and they're going to make that decision as to, with the coaching staff as to who's going to be here in the end and who's going to play and what happens. So. It's not just 1 or 2 people watching. It's everybody watching and making a collaborative, assessment at the end. And we're all in this thing together to try and better this hockey team. And we're going to make the best possible choice we can.
Looking at Giroux's to so take face-off, I just wondered what's your take on that to have success? Is it mental, reflex, physical, just being that Lever's cheater?
Nah. Yeah, I mean, no, he's a veteran that just knows. I mean, he's strong, he's fast. He knows the dot. He knows linesmen. He's timing. It takes a long time. I mean, I don't know what the number is. It'd be interesting. Someone will dig it up. How many faceoffs has he taken in his career compared to a guy like Pinto, compared to a guy like Timmy? And those guys with experience, even Broussard, these guys, they have all kinds of experience. They know the linesmen. They know the people. They just know their way around it. And his experience is going to help. You can see today, playing live scrimmage on the power play, I don't think he lost a faceoff.